Welcome to Out and Into Open Arms, the podcast about youth who are coming out. I'm Jessica Goff. I use she and her pronouns, and I direct training and education at New Hampshire Outright, an organization that supports LGBTQ+ young people and their families.
And I'm Mark Belanger, he, him. My work is in healthcare management, and I'm a former teacher. But my most important, most challenging, and most rewarding job is being a dad.
Now, I think that's enough about us.
That's more than enough about us. Let's talk about the kids.
Young people, from little kids all the way up to teens and even young adults, need support when they are coming out. They need support from many adults in their lives, like coaches, teachers, and counselors, therapists, doctors, and social workers, relatives, friends, and neighbors, and more. They especially need support from their parents or caregivers.
And parents, moms, dads, we're going to talk directly to you throughout this podcast, but everyone that Jess listed plays a crucial role.
You're going to be hearing from 4 families in this podcast, from parents and kids who have already been through this journey, their stories and their words.
Jess and I will share a few thoughts here and there, but we're mostly here to walk alongside and be your guides.
You know, I think it's already time to hear from some of the kids who will be playing a starring role in this podcast. Here are Izzy and Jordan sharing what they've needed most.
Hugs and support.
Just continue to love your kid. They're still your kid. That's not going to change.
Love, hugs, support. So parents, your most important job has not changed, and you already know how to do it. You've been providing love, hugs, and support since the day your child was born.
And now, your kid is going into a new stage. But you've navigated those before, like when they learn to crawl, furniture walk, or go up and down stairs.
Or get dropped off at preschool with a whole bunch of kids they didn't know.
Or learn to bike, swim, or jump off a diving board, right into the deep end.
Or the first time they went to summer camp. We could go on and on.
And now your kid is coming out. It's a new stage, and it's a big one. But you've already guided your child through lots of changes, and you can do this.
Yep, you can do this even if you know very little or even nothing about the LGBTQ+ community. That's totally okay.
Not only is it okay, you're in the right place. A podcast is a great place to begin. Just you listening on your own time. And maybe at first you listen in private. And after that, when you feel ready, you could listen with your kid.
Yep, and just by listening, we hope you'll find a human connection with real families who've already been down this path.
After this podcast, you will probably want to keep learning. Check out our show notes to find many more resources.
Jess, we should acknowledge that politics in this area are intense these days.
Yes, and some listeners may be experiencing some intense emotions right now.
Right, but part of that intensity comes from the way complex issues these days are framed. They're framed to divide us rather than to unite us.
I hear you. Things can feel different when it's your own kid. But really, there's only one big truth to remember. Kids need love. Here's Peter.
So when I first came out as non-binary, I was afraid that my parents wouldn't love me anymore.
Listeners, no matter where you are in your personal journey, we welcome you.
Absolutely. In episodes 1 through 4, you're going to hear the coming out stories of 4 kids and their families. Each is unique. Each is special. After that, we'll address schools, community, advocacy, and much more.
We'll be right back to introduce you to the first family.
Let's get to know Izzy, a very active 10-year-old. One activity that Izzy enjoys is kayaking.
Since we live on an island, there's a back channel, and we like to kayak back there because there's little islands you can explore and rocks you can jump off of.
Izzy's also an emerging endurance athlete.
In September, I have the Pumpkin Man Triathlon, and I'm going to relay it. So I'm not going to do the swim, but I'm going to do the bike and the run because I don't like murky water.
Likes to jump off rocks, but doesn't like to swim in murky water. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Jess, why don't you narrate for a bit? I'll take a turn later.
Sounds great. So let's get into Izzy's story, starting about 2 years ago. Here's the scene. Izzy is with their dad and brother. They're at the grocery store, about to set off on a day of hiking. They're in the checkout line, and Izzy starts a conversation with their dad, Dave. Here's Dave recalling what Izzy said.
I think I want to change my pronouns. My stomach hurts when people call me he, him. My stomach hurts when people say I'm a boy. I don't feel like I fit in.
Picture it, in the grocery store checkout line. You just never know when a conversation like this might happen. Dave was completely caught by surprise. We asked him exactly what he was thinking in that moment.
Don't blow this. It was that.
And here is what he said to Izzy.
This is a really important conversation. Can we talk about it not in the supermarket checkout line?
So Dave and Izzy's little brother get into the car and start driving.
I remember thinking, like, who do I want to be in this moment for my kiddo? And wanting to make sure that I showed up for them in a way that left no doubt about how I felt. That they knew right away that they could change their pronouns, they could change their name, they could change their gender, but nothing was going to change, about how we felt about them. They could tell us anything about, even the most important things, like who they are and who they want to be seen as in the world. And they would always know that we loved them, we supported them, and we'll always have their back.
So Dave and Izzy started to talk a bit, but then Dave felt a strong need.
I wanted to be holding my kiddo at that point because I knew how much courage it must be taking them and how emotional they must have been thinking that and saying those things to us and knowing but not knowing how we might respond.
So this is what Dave said.
Can I give you a hug?
They pulled off the road.
And we got out and we had a big hug.
My brother was in the car when I first came out to my dad. He was there too, and he gave me a hug too.
It became a beautiful moment. And that moment kind of led to our little catchphrase, which is always, forever, and no matter what.
I'll love you always, forever, and no matter what. Now, as you can imagine, this is a frequently told story in Izzy's family. And there's a funny twist. When Dave wanted to give Izzy a hug, he just pulled off the road into the nearest parking lot. And it just happened to be a liquor store.
So every time we go by there, I say, like, that's my favorite store.
So we're going to turn back the clock to before the conversation at the grocery store. Here's how Izzy was feeling.
I don't really know why, but being called a boy started to feel icky, I guess.
Being called a boy felt icky. I love the word choice. Very fitting for a 10-year-old kid. Izzy was starting to notice that not everyone was either a boy or a girl.
My cousin came out as non-binary a while ago, so that's kind of how I knew about it. And then when I was at a camp, one of the CIT counselor people was non-binary.
So Izzy realized they were also non-binary. Step 1, tell their parents.
I was nervous because I knew it would be a big change.
After the conversation that started at the grocery store, Izzy shared the news with their mom and a few others that they trusted most. Here's how they describe how they felt before and after.
I was almost grumpy, I guess. But then once I came out to everyone I wanted to, I was happier and calmer.
I was happier and calmer. Meanwhile, Dave was feeling that he'd done well so far, but that he was entering an unknown world.
Well, I knew how I wanted to be there for them and support them. I still didn't understand all of the aspects of what that might mean for them.
Yep, Izzy was at the beginning of a big change, and so was Dave. They had a lot to learn and a lot to discover together. So Mark, what's jumped out at you so far?
The anguish that Izzy was feeling. My stomach hurts when people say he, him. My stomach hurts when people say I'm a boy.
Right, and that probably feels foreign to a lot of listeners. But what Izzy is describing can be a very deeply felt distress. It comes from being seen by others in a way that just feels wrong, and being in a body that just doesn't match one's sense of self.
I noticed that Izzy uses they, them pronouns. Can we talk about that?
Definitely.
I had a hard time understanding what was going on when I first encountered pronoun changes.
You're not alone.
So what's this really all about?
What this is really all about is health and safety.
How so?
When kids don't feel seen and heard, their mental health suffers. But when youth have their pronouns respected, it makes a huge difference. In fact, the data shows that it reduces suicide risk by 50%.
50?
Yes, 50. 50%.
That's an astonishing number. So, small words, enormous impact.
Yes, enormous impact on health and safety. It's also just the right thing to do.
So, Jess, what jumped out for you in that segment of the story?
Always, forever, and no matter what.
You don't have to know Dave for very long to feel just how much affection he has for Izzy.
Just this tremendously charismatic kid. They're infectious, right? They are a lot of fun, and they're funny, and they have a sophisticated sense of humor, and kids gravitate to them. They're really popular at school, and they're very athletic.
But now Dave and Izzy are entering into a new and unknown space. Both were heartened by the warm support they received from many people close to them. For example, Izzy's brother quickly became
Their biggest ally, and, will not tolerate anyone
who mistreats his sibling. Izzy got a more subtle form of support from their closest friends.
We were walking on the beach, and I told her that, and then she was like, okay, can we go play, I guess?
I love it. Whatever. No big deal. Can we go play? And another friend had a very similar reaction.
Oh, very interesting. Can we go play?
So the kids are processing this in a matter of seconds. How about the adults? Dave and his wife started sharing the news with members of the extended family. Dave wasn't sure what to expect, especially from the older generation, but his father was supportive and interested.
He embraced the name change, the pronouns. He had questions right away. I don't know if it was hard work, but it's effort to suddenly start using plural pronouns with someone who's singular if you've never been exposed to that before. So yeah, that's been a surprise and a wonderful one at that.
Before long, Izzy had come out at school. Dave has a special memory of a school event where he got to see a self-portrait that Izzy had worked on.
Just really profound in terms of drawing two sides of their body and their face in different ways that really demonstrated that they were figuring out their gender identity and how they wanted the world to see them.
Dave didn't know the teacher all that well, and he decided to make sure that the teacher was aware that Izzy had come out as non-binary.
Yeah, I know. Everybody in the school knows. And then he just paused and thought for a minute and just looked at me and said, "What a brave kid."
What a brave kid.
And it just really hit me in the heart because it resonated so much and nobody else had responded in that way or articulated it in that way. And I just thought, you are so right. That is the right reaction when a kid challenges themselves and takes that step, that tremendously courageous step to tell people around them, I'm not who you think I am.
So far, so good. But there were some challenges in the extended family. At first, Dave figured that he had to be patient and give people time to adapt. But even after quite some time,
not all of them use the right pronouns. There's also no effort.
To Dave and his wife, it was the lack of effort that hurt. He said it was difficult when a relative
continually misgenders them in a way that hurts their stomach and makes them feel less than themselves. That's challenging. So yeah, we're working through that.
Politics also enters into the picture at times.
One of my siblings who could not be more loving and supportive, but votes differently than us politically.
She doesn't really get how that impacts our relationship because she tries to use my right pronouns and stuff, but she still voted that way, which makes it hard to interact.
And here's another complication. Like many kids who come out, it took Izzy quite some time to settle into a particular identity.
First I was a boy, then I was non-binary, then I tried being a girl and changed my name, then I went back to being non-binary. I feel like I didn't really fit in with the girls or the boys, so that's why I went back to being non-binary.
We asked Izzy to explain their sense of non-binary.
Like, most of my friends think it means both, but to me it means neither.
Okay, so this can be complicated at first. Some people who are non-binary say they feel connected to both genders. Others, like Izzy, feel disconnected from either gender.
It's like not a mix of the both, it's just like completely separate.
Dave is trying to keep up as Izzy evolves.
This was not one transition. There have been changes all throughout. I jokingly refer to it as the gender adventure, not the gender journey, because we don't know where it goes, and that's okay.
Dave discovered that he could pick up hints about what Izzy was thinking by watching them play with their stuffed animals.
One of their stuffed pig animals changed their name.
As Izzy's identity evolved, so did their style choices.
They had wanted a particular kind of haircut that is the haircut one of their friends has, and so we went and got it, and I was like, this looks great, this looks amazing.
But the haircut didn't sit right with Izzy.
So like it was short on the back and sides, but like there was a lot of hair on the top of your head. And I kind of freaked out when I got it because I didn't like it at all.
With a little bit of luck, Dave found the perfect stylist.
She actually has cut several transgender and non-binary people's hair and has a very specific approach to doing it.
Izzy got what seemed at the time like a minimal cut, but the more it grew out, the more Izzy loved it. They haven't cut it since. It wasn't just hair. Finding the right clothing was also a bit of a process.
So my mom ordered me a bunch of clothes that I could try on, and one of them was a jean dress. So we did a fashion show, I guess, where I tried on the clothes and walked out of the bathroom with them on. And then the last piece of clothing was the jean dress. And I hated it so much.
Izzy has since found a casual style that suits them.
I changed to quote-unquote girls' clothes, but I still kind of wear a bit of a mix. But I wear a t-shirt and then usually girls' shorts or girls' sweatpants.
What'd you think, Jess?
There's a lot in that story that's very common. For example, pronouns and politics are often stress points in extended families.
I'm sure, and it's not easy. We'll be hearing more in future episodes. I was also thinking about our listeners who are brand new to all of this. Izzy's sequence of steps from boy to non-binary to girl and back to non-binary might feel daunting.
True. And yet, this is also quite common. Kids, all kids, go through a process of trying to understand who they are. For some kids, that means figuring out if they want to be seen more as a student or an athlete. For other kids, it's about gender. For everyone, it may take some experimentation.
And for parents, that means creating space for that process of discovery.
And that often means trying out different style choices for both clothing and hair. Izzy needed to try 2 different haircuts, and they needed a bit of a fashion show to discover that they never, ever, ever wanted to wear a jeans dress ever again. It's all part of the process.
I'm going to remember the reaction of Izzy's 2 friends. You're non-binary? Okay, great. Can we go play?
To so many kids these days, all of this is just no big deal. It's the grown-ups, like all of us, who have to learn.
A great place to end. We'll be back soon with another episode, another family, and another story.
This podcast has been brought to you by New Hampshire Outright. Please check the show notes for additional resources. Special thanks to our hosts, Jessica Goff and Mark Belanger. Our editorial and project management team also included Brady Berry and Amy Rock. Script development, audio production, and additional music composition by Chris Trimble and Treehouse Audio Productions.